All right, Derium's back at it again, this time with some standard deck tech. You guys seem to want some deck techs, so I'm gonna put this one out there, see if it's well received, if y'all like it. Let me know some constructive criticism in the comments below. But we're gonna do standard's best deck right now, and that involves my arch nemesis, Smuggler's Copter. Red-white vehicles right now is probably the hottest, best deck in standard. It's also not that expensive. You could probably get this bad boy for around $250 or so. And if you choose some of the most expensive cards in the deck, which are only in the sideboard, even cheaper. Let's take a look. So here is the layout of the deck. I'm gonna run through the individual cards as I go along. And you'll also see the sideboard, but it's a red-white aggressive strategy involving some basic lands, a couple dual lands, an Inspiring Vantage and Needle Spires. We've got a crew of 1-drops, Thraben Inspector, Toolcraft Exemplar. You see what I did with the crew there? LOL. We have Selfless Spirit, Veteran Motorist, and Smuggler's Copter as the 2-drops. Rounding out the curve is Depala and Pia Nalaar, providing lots of value. We've got some removal in Skysovereign, Consul, Flagship, Harnessed Lightning, Declaration in Stone, and all around real annoying card, Fleetwheel Cruiser. Now we're gonna run through the cards individually. I named them all, but let's figure out what they do and why they're in the deck. We're gonna start with these 3 because they are kind of what you wanna see as early as possible. Your nut draw, if you will, involves landing a turn 1 Toolcraft Exemplar into a turn 2 Smuggler's Copter, attacking for 3, and then next turn playing literally any creature that lets you activate Smuggler's Copter and attack for 6. Oh my gosh, that's so many damages. But also very difficult to deal with in combat. Toolcraft Exemplar has first strike, meaning it's just almost unblockable in the early part of the game. And Smuggler's Copter is only a creature when you want it to be, so it evades any sort of removal that you don't want to play around, or that you would like to play around rather. Also, it helps filter your crappy cards. If you have extra lands or useless removal, you can discard them. Has evasion, meaning it's going to fly over your opponent's creatures and attack them regardless of whether they have blockers or not. It's just really the best card in standard right now. It just does literally everything. It attacks, it can even block, it loots, meaning you're gonna filter away dead cards. It has evasion, it evades sorcery speed removal. It's just that good. The hype is real. We also have Thraben Inspector, who's just all around good guy, 1 mana, 1/2. He crews your Smuggler's Copter and draws you a card. Who doesn't like drawing cards? Here we have a few more of the creatures in the deck. Depala, Pilot Exemplar, kind of one of the backbones, the reasons the deck can go long, the reason the deck plays so many dwarves, I guess. Depala gives all your other dwarves +1/+1. It gives your vehicles +1/+1. And then if it ever becomes tapped, you can pay a bunch of mana, or how much you want, how much you have laying around, and start drawing extra cards. An aggressive deck that gets to draw extra cards is just really, really dangerous. That's why Smuggler's Copter is so good. That's why Depala is so good. We have Veteran Motorist, who is an aggressive card that has Scry, which is really weird. Also lets you make your vehicles bigger when you crew them. Also is a dwarf for Depala. The deck is just so very synergistic. Then we have Selfless Spirit, which seems kind of random, not the most aggressive card, but it protects all your dudes. They really can't use removal on any of your important stuff until they've killed Selfless Spirit. It protects you from cards like Kozilek's Return and Radiant Flames, and I don't think I would build this deck without it. Your deck is already so resilient to removal that taking away their last couple chances of interacting with you via Selfless Spirit seems like a unbeatable strategy. Here we are getting toward the heavy part of the curve. We have Pia Nalaar, 3 mana, 2/2 Artificer. It brings a Copter along with it, and then it can start pumping your artifact creatures and making it so that your opponents can't block. More evasion. Kind of an army in a can. Skysovereign Consul Flagship. 5 mana, 6/5, flying vehicle. When it comes into play, it instantly gets you value by hitting a planeswalker or a creature, and then it starts attacking for essentially kind of like 9-ish. That gets to do 3 to more things, so it can remove blockers or kill planeswalkers. It's just quite powerful card. It's a little clunky, and you might not have a guy big enough to crew it, but when it's good, it is great. That's why there's only 2 in the deck. Finally, Fleetwheel Cruiser. It comes into play, it can attack immediately, it has trampled, and then, as the vehicles do, it can only activate when they want it to activate. If you want to make this a creature and play, you know, loose and fast, or they're tapped down, you know they don't have removal, that's great. It's a good top deck, In the later game, it can just come down and swing for 25% of their life total. There are very few ways to interact with the vehicles profitably in this format, especially ones that have haste. It's annoying, you can't really plan for it. The last cards in the deck are a couple removal spells. In addition to having the Sky Consul Flagship as a removal spell, we have a couple copies of Harnessed Lightning. Main reason this is in here is to kill Smuggler's Copters. It's an even mana way to deal with the Smuggler's Copter. You get to kill it before it attacks you, which is really nice. Obviously, it can also kill a whole slew of other things, Depala and random creatures. Then 4 copies of Declaration in Stone. Just an all-around solid answer to anything you can expect. The format is in its infancy still, so having an answer to any creature, no matter what it is, whether it's Emrakul or an opposing Toolcraft Exemplar, you have an answer here in Declaration in Stone. Plus, if they're running tokens, get them all out of there. Moving on to the sideboard. Sideboard has a slew of removal spells. If you are playing against the aggressive mirror, which is planned for because Smuggler's Copter being the best card of the format means that leaning towards aggressive strategies, which complements Smuggler's Copter greatly, is a reasonable thing to plan for. 4 copies of Galvanic Bombardment gets better in multiples, obviously. It can kill their 1-drop Toolcraft Exemplar. It can eventually kill Smuggler's Copter as well. Skywhaler shot to take care of some of the bigger things, also killing Smuggler's Copter, by the way. And Fragmentize, just in case anyone's running some weird artifacts like Aetherworks Marvel, and they don't have energy to activate it the turn it comes down, also kill Smuggler's Copter. Notice the trend? The last couple cards in the sideboard, we have a Weaver of Lightning, a 3-mana 1/4 reach, blocking Smuggler's Copter, and then if you have some instant sorceries, which the deck does not actually have that many of, you can start pinging some of their little aggressive creatures. Definitely here to morph into more of a control deck against the aggressive strategies. And finally, Gideon, ally of Zendikar. The deck attacks from a multitude of angles. You have vehicles, creatures, things with haste, creature lands, and once you sideboard Gideon, ally of Zendikar, another dimension becomes available to your arsenal where they have to now interact with a planeswalker. The deck is just real solid, real hard to combat. It comes at you from tons of different angles, and you have to have answers for all of them, or try and race them. The deck is very good at racing. I don't really know of a good answer to this deck right now. I put essentially 6 copies into the top 8 of the first event, and this weekend we'll see the Pro Tour and see how people plan on dealing with Smuggler's Copter and friends. Again, let me know what you think about this deck tech in the comments below. What would you change? Do you want to see more? Do you want to see older stuff? I know you guys don't like standard too much, but it is the most relevant thing right now. Thanks for watching.